I burned my Mills chore list and finally called out all the abuse to my husband in front of her. That one phone call changed everything and broke our toxic family apart. My name is Evelyn, 29F, and I've been married to Daniel, 32M, for 5 years. About a year ago, Daniel accepted a project in Europe and was supposed to stay there for another 3 years. Originally, the plan was for our little family, me and our 3-year-old son, to join him abroad. But my MIL, Sandra, 61F, was adamant that all the back and forth moving would be bad for our son. She pushed hard. Children need stability, she always insisted. After a lot of debate, Daniel and I eventually agreed. My MIL also talked me into moving in with her, my father-in-law Michael, 63M, and Daniel's sister, Rachel, 21F, while Daniel was away. Sandra promised to watch my son while I worked, saving us on daycare costs and creating a real family home. I got along with his parents and Rachel well enough, so I said yes. At first, things went smoothly, but within just a few weeks, Sandra changed. She started expecting me to do every chore imaginable: cooking, laundry, cleaning, you name it, because she and Michael were too old. At first, it was subtle, and I brushed it off. But before long, I realized I was basically their live-in maid, doing everything around the house, while Sandra sniped about how lazy and spoiled I was if I ever pushed back. She'd start fights, reduce me to tears, then come groveling with apologies. For a long time, I let her guilt trips win. Whenever Daniel visited, suddenly the whole family was sweet as pie, obviously, since Daniel's money was their financial life raft. Michael and Sandra are both retired and Rachel is still in college. Daniel and I bring in all the income, and my own parents passed away a long time ago. If my mom and dad were still here, I would have left in a heartbeat, but I had nowhere else to go. I always stopped myself from telling Daniel about what was really happening. I knew one call would fix everything, but somehow, the idea overwhelmed me. I guess I just kept waiting for them to act like the loving family I had known before moving in, but it never happened. 3 days ago, my last illusion shattered. Sandra and Michael have this tradition of taking a week-long family vacation every year, and since I'd become part of their family, I always went too. This time, Daniel wouldn't be able to make it, and I was so relieved at the thought of a week away from his parents that I decided to stay home when they asked about the plans. Finally, a few days ago, Sandra brought up the upcoming vacation, and before I could even say I wasn't going, handed me a massive list of chores to do while they'd be away. I couldn't even process what she was saying. I was stunned reading through her list. And then I saw the line, "Clean both loos." That was it. I snapped, screaming at Sandra about what a greedy, entitled old hag she was. I stormed into the kitchen and burned the list while she tried to shout me down. Then, in that moment, I did what I should have months ago. I picked up my phone, called Daniel on speaker, and told him every humiliating, miserable detail of life with his parents. Sandra was shrieking in the background the whole time, yelling about how I was lying. But Daniel calmed me down and said he was coming home immediately. He'd change his flights and be there as soon as he could. Daniel instructed me to pack up our things and check into a hotel with our son for safety's sake. Sandra sobbed and tried to block my way as I packed, but I ignored her completely. I don't owe these people another chance. They've shown their true colors too many times. It's been 3 days now in the hotel, just me and my boy, waiting for Daniel to come home and help untangle this mess. I'm not helpless, but it's hard looking after a confused toddler while life explodes around us. A few hours ago, Sandra finally texted me for the first time since we left. "I'm sorry, I just assumed you wouldn't want to come on vacation without Daniel. I figured you wouldn't be busy and could help around the house while we're gone. Maybe I was quick to assume. Let's put this behind us and start fresh. I think of you like my own daughter. But the truth feels too ugly for a simple apology. AITA for the way I blew up at her and left. Update 1. Daniel came back a couple days ago and it's been stressful. He went straight to the hotel to see me and hear what happened. I showed him the text from Sandra, but hadn't replied because all your comments, and my gut said not to. Her remorse was just another smokescreen, an attempt to manage the narrative before Daniel could get the real story. Daniel is furious. He told me he's cutting his family off, completely. I support him. It's harsh, but they've shown zero true remorse, and this past year nearly destroyed me. I stayed silent for ages, partly because these people had once shown me love. I hoped they'd change, but that hope was wasted. I once clung to Sandra and Michael for the family warmth I missed since losing my parents, but the caring was always conditional. It was easier for them to fake kindness for Daniel's wife than actually treat me as a human being. So it's over. Daniel, our son, and I are planning to move to Europe together next week as we were always meant to. Sure, our son might have a tough time adjusting, but he's young. He'll get through it, and I just want our family reunited. Daniel can't leave his high-paying job, but I'm fine starting over. There's nothing left for me here, certainly not the family I thought I had. And as an accountant, I'll find work soon enough. Daniel hasn't told his family about the move or the cutoff yet. We're going to their house tomorrow to pack up our stuff. I'm nervous for the confrontation, but this is it. They're out of our lives for good. Update 2. Daniel and I are back at the hotel after today's ordeal. We went to Sandra and Michael's to get our things, and I left our son with a close friend to spare him the drama. I wish I could say I was wrong to expect a scene, but I wasn't. Sandra tried to act so sweet, nauseatingly so, the same way she pretended for years before I moved in. Even Michael and Rachel put on a big show of being pleasant, but I saw right through it. They just saw us as a paycheck and a maid. This happy family act fooled me once. Never again. Daniel was blunt. We're here to collect our stuff, then we're leaving, for good. He said flat out that their treatment of me was unacceptable and he'd no longer have them in his life. Uproar. Suddenly, I'm every insult in the book. Lazy, selfish, immoral, a homewrecker who is stealing Daniel away. The yelling shredded my throat, but it felt good to get all my anger out after a year of swallowing it. Sandra ended up sobbing on the couch, moaning about how I ruined her life and stole her son. Daniel was upset too. It's hard, forcing this kind of break, but he did it to protect the family he chose. As for me, I just pray he doesn't have second thoughts and decide to give them another last chance. If he does, I'll have to leave. Update 3. 1 week since Daniel returned. We've been at the hotel. Our flight to Europe leaves in 4 days. Today, Sandra reached out to Daniel with another apology. This is her cycle. Mess up, shift blame, then beg forgiveness. I used to fall for it. Daniel doesn't. We talked. Daniel wasn't upset about the fallout with his parents. He was gutted, thinking he'd failed to protect us. He said the guilt ate at him, not because he was cutting them off, but because I'd suffered so much alone, and he hadn't known. That conversation proved I married the right man. He only cared about fixing things for us. He blamed himself a little. I told him it wasn't his fault. I put up with it all, not him. We'd both wanted to believe his parents were good people, but the truth is they took advantage the first chance they got. We stood firm. Another apology wasn't enough. Sandra's message got no reply. Instead, Daniel finally blocked her. Rachel, on the other hand, has been blowing up Daniel's phone nonstop. Of the three, she's possibly the least selfish. But still complicit, she never intervened or helped me. She was mostly worried about the money, since Daniel's still paying her college tuition. Daniel eventually picked up, told her he'd see her through to graduation, but after that, she's on her own. No more cash to Sandra and Michael either. That vacation fund is gone. When Rachel tried to push back, Daniel warned her if she kept pressing, the college fund was gone too. Rachel must have blamed me for all this. Daniel got angry, shut the call down. He's napping now with our son. We're all wrung out, but at least we're facing this together. I wish I'd never let Sandra sweet-talk me into living with them in the first place. Clearly, this was her plan all along. She wanted a new maid, not a daughter-in-law. She never lifted a finger and saved her money for those fancy trips. Well, let's see her pull that off now. Update 4. We're flying out tomorrow. Everything's packed. Last night, one of Daniel's cousins told us Sandra was trashing us on Facebook, saying we'd used and abandoned her and Michael, painting us as neglectful, cruel, and selfish. She posted lies about me bossing everyone around, making her and Rachel do all the work. It's wild seeing someone twist things so far. She's acting out, maybe hoping Daniel will cave and rescue her. If anything, she's just making her own situation worse. Daniel's getting calls nonstop, some relatives blaming us, others wanting the real scoop. Anyone who buys Sandra's version can have it. We've also posted the truth online. Soon, we'll be gone for good. Daniel's hoping to extend his posting, so this whole mess will fade into the rear view. Honestly, I'm excited for our new start together. After everything, I'm just hoping for a little peace for my family. That brings this story to a close. This story highlights how difficult it is to break free from toxic family patterns, especially when you're isolated and financially intertwined. Sometimes, doing what's best for your immediate family means walking away no matter the backlash. I've got a question for you. What would you have done in OP's place? Would you have stayed quiet or called it out sooner?